Thank you, Senator Shaheen. Senator Cotton, please.
Dr. Kahl, let's review some of your recent foreign policy judgments. In 2017, when the U.S. recognized Jerusalem as Israel's capital, you wrote that the decision helps Iran and further isolated the U.S. in the Middle East. But since then, the U.S. has brokered landmark Mideast peace deals. In 2019, when the State Department issued new guidance about Israeli settlements, you wrote that the move would be dangerous and destabilizing to the Middle East. But no such destabilization happened. Indeed, those peace deals happened. In 2018, when President Trump warned Iran against restarting its nuclear program, you wrote that war drums are already sounding, but no war happened. Also in 2018, when the Trump administration left the Iran nuclear deal, you said, war will be all that's left, but no war occurred. In 2019, when the Lincoln Strike Group was deployed to the Persian Gulf, you wrote, there is growing evidence we are on the path toward war, whether Trump realizes it or not. But again, no war came. Last year, when the U.S. killed Iran's terrorist mastermind, Qasem Soleimani, you claimed now Trump has started a war with Iran and Iraq. But once again, no war followed. By contrast, in 2010, as coalition forces withdrew from Iraq, you dismissed concerns about the security situation as exaggerated and said it was very unlikely to trigger a dramatic uptick in violence. So, Dr. Kahl, while you spent the last 4 years warning about impending wars that never happened, when Mideast policy was your job at the Pentagon, you failed to foresee the rise of ISIS, which launched an actual war involving 30,000 Islamic insurgents conquering a quarter of Iraq. Dr. Kahl, it seems to me that your judgments about matters of war and peace are almost always wrong. Now let's turn to some of your other writings. Can I have the first poster board, please? In 2019, in response to a story about Syria, you wrote that the Republican Party has debased itself at the altar of Trump and now is the party of ethnic cleansing. Have the next poster board, please. You further accused all Republican senators who supported foreign military aid to our partners as owning the world's worst humanitarian crisis in Yemen. That's 45 senators, all somehow responsible for mass civilian casualties, inflicted in no small part by Iran's proxies, I would add. And could I have the next board, please? And just last summer, you approvingly quoted a wild-eyed claim that the Republican Party has a death cult fealty to President Trump. Dr. Kahl, this is not about mean tweets or insulting senators. We're all used to harsh criticism up here. This is just a very small sample of the many intemperate and unbalanced remarks that you've directed at people who disagree with you about public policy. But the job you seek demands a judicious, even-tempered demeanor. You'll face disagreements every day in the Pentagon, across the executive branch, with Congress. But your long record of volatile outbursts will have a toxic and detrimental impact on your relationship with Congress. What's worse, I fear your intemperate manner will create an equally toxic environment inside the Pentagon, stifling healthy, robust debate. And there's the fact that your rants have slandered not just a few politicians up here in Congress, but the millions of troops and veterans who consider themselves Republicans. So, Dr. Kahl, how can you responsibly execute the duties of this position, having so deeply poisoned the well?
I appreciate your candor, Senator. To state the obvious, the last few years have been pretty polarizing on social media. I'm sure there are times that I got swept up in that. There were a number of positions that President Trump took that I strongly opposed. I think the language that I used in opposing those was sometimes disrespectful, and for that I apologize. I understand that the position of the Undersecretary of Defense for Policy, while it's a political appointment, is not a political job. It's a policy job. one that requires me to be nonpartisan in the halls of the Pentagon and bipartisan, working with this committee and others in Congress. And I know that I can comport myself in that way because I did it the last time I was at the Pentagon working for Secretary Gates. I did it when I was at the Pentagon the first time in the Bush administration. I have a long track record of being able to put politics aside in public office and put the national interest first.
Thank you, Dr. Kahl. I'm glad that you recognize that you were swept away in the moment. I would just say that some of these tweets happened in the middle of the night when presumably you were sitting at home reading the news. The real tense moments are going to happen when you're in the Pentagon and Iran hijacks another American ship or China shoots down an aircraft. And if this is the way you respond to mere policy disagreements when you're sitting at home reading the news, I do not think that you're fit to sit in the Pentagon and make decisions about life and death. That's one reason why I'll oppose your nomination.